Tonight, a second person dies from coronavirus near Seattle as concerns grow the virus may have been spreading undetected for weeks. While on the East Coast, New York, Rhode Island, and Florida all see their first cases. New travel restrictions now as American universities race to fly their students home from abroad. And some schools here temporarily close as stores coast to coast scramble to stock up on necessities. The stock market opens this morning after its worst week since the financial crisis, and our team is covering all the latest developments right now.
Breaking overnight, Mayor Pete drops out.
I will no longer seek to be the 2020 Democratic nominee for president.
Now Joe Biden trying to capitalize on his big win this weekend and surge into Super Tuesday.
Deadly pileups, snow, and icy conditions leading to this major 50-car crash. The race to save those trapped.
Where are the children? What the stepfather of those missing Idaho siblings is now telling ABC News about their safety.
Only on GMA, the brand new Bachelorette about to be revealed here live.
And extraordinary Earth. As we explore 20 amazing places in 2020, this morning, the fiery lava lake known as the mouth of hell.
This is the Messiah volcano.
Incredible images and incredible new science that can predict one of nature's most dangerous disasters. And now, how the threat of the changing climate is putting these animals in peril. GMA is live from Nicaragua's Messiah volcano.
Live in Times Square, this is Good Morning America.
Good morning, America. We hope you all had a good weekend, and we are going to show you someplace amazing later in the broadcast. It is that volcano right there, the Messiah volcano in Nicaragua. That is coming up, but of course, it's also an incredibly busy Monday morning. Want to get right to the latest on the coronavirus emergency.
That's right. Overnight, a second person dying from the virus in the United States, a man in his 70s who had underlying health issues, passing away in the Seattle area. Another victim also in Washington state, a man in his 50s.
At least 3 new states are now reporting cases. New York, Florida, Rhode Island, and the number of cases growing in California, Washington state, and Illinois. There are now 80 cases in the U.S., more than 89,000 worldwide. Coronavirus cases are now being reported in at least 60 countries, 8 added to the list just this past weekend, including Mexico and the Dominican Republic.
And we have team coverage of the spreading emergency. Kaylee Hartung starts us off in Kirkland, Washington, which is now being considered the epicenter of the outbreak here in the United States. Good morning, Kaylee.
Good morning, Amy. No hospital in the country is currently treating more people with coronavirus than Evergreen Health here in Kirkland. And now we're learning of research that suggests this deadly virus has been quietly spreading across Washington state for the past 6 weeks through people who didn't even know they were infected.
Overnight, a second death in the U.S. as the number of confirmed cases of coronavirus across the country continues to rise. 2 people in the Seattle area have died after contracting the virus. 2 men, one in his 50s, another in his 70s, both with underlying health issues, who had not recently traveled abroad.
What we're seeing is the tip of the iceberg.
A state of emergency issued in Washington state where 13 patients have been diagnosed with COVID-19, including a postal worker and a high school student. This nursing home in Kirkland, the source of 6 of the confirmed cases. Health officials say at least 50 more patients are being evaluated.
We've just seen another person loaded up into this ambulance to be taken to the hospital.
Researchers in Washington telling ABC News their analysis of samples of the virus strongly suggests it's been spreading in this state for the past 6 weeks. In New York City, a woman in her 30s is self-quarantined in her Manhattan apartment, contracting the virus after traveling to Iran. New York's mayor tweeting, "We have said it was a matter of when, not if, there would be a positive case of coronavirus in New York." In Rhode Island, a high school is shut down for the week. 2 people testing positive for the virus there after returning from a school trip to Italy.
The major task is for us is to continue the extensive contact tracing work.
Several American universities abruptly ending their study abroad programs in countries where the virus is quickly spreading. A student at St. Mary's College is studying in Italy and being urged to return home.
We were asked to leave as soon as possible before anything got worse.
Fear of the virus contributing to scenes like this. At a Costco in Washington state, lines of shoppers were seen stocking up on necessities like wipes, toilet paper, and water. Public health officials reassuring Americans that 80% of cases of coronavirus are mild, and citing the low number of cases, they're calling for calm.
We're ramping up testing. You know, we now have 75,000 tests available out there in the United States, and over the next week that will expand radically.
The elderly and anyone with a weakened immune system is at high risk for the virus, but healthcare workers and first responders are finding themselves in vulnerable situations. A quarter of the 100 firefighters here in the city of Kirkland are now under quarantine after being exposed to the virus at that nursing home facility not far from here. None of them are showing symptoms, but they're being closely monitored. Amy?
All right, Kaylee Hartung, thank you so much. And the coronavirus outbreak could affect March Madness, the annual college basketball tournament. The National College Players Association saying in a statement there should be a, quote, serious discussion about holding the games without fans in the stands. The NCAA says it is monitoring the coronavirus spread with the CDC and local officials where the games will be played. So a huge amount of impact, George.
Yeah, huge impact, and it affects the economy, of course, as well. We've already seen that effect all over the world. Take a look at these satellite images showing what the sky looked like over China before the outbreak. That's the pollution, all that yellow right there, and then it just evaporates over the past few weeks as so many factories shut down. And of course, a lot of eyes on Wall Street this morning as the markets open again after the worst week since the financial crisis. Rebecca Jarvis joins us now from the New York Stock Exchange. Good morning, Rebecca.
Good morning, George, and we are looking at another volatile day here on Wall Street. The Dow poised to open more than 100 points lower after that worst week for stocks since 2008 in the financial crisis. In just 5 days, the Dow fell more than 12%, with Wall Street eyeing the coronavirus and its uncertain impact on the economy here in the U.S. We have already seen so many companies responding. Over the weekend, Nike, just to be safe, shuttering its worldwide headquarters in Oregon for a deep cleaning. A number of other U.S. companies have responded by restricting travel for employees. Twitter, Amazon, and J.P. Morgan telling employees not to take to the skies unless it is absolutely essential. And we have already seen that impact from Chinese factories being shuttered here in the U.S. For example, in Los Angeles at the port, they have now seen traffic decline for the month of February, TJ, by 25%. That means imports from China are not coming here, and it's because of the coronavirus, TJ.
Wow, Rebecca, thank you so much. We turn overseas where the spread of the virus is causing major disruptions to everyday life. The Louvre in Paris shut down over fears that large crowds at the world's busiest museum could help spread coronavirus. No word on when the home of the Mona Lisa will reopen. Turn to Tokyo now, and the annual marathon there, which drew more than 37,000 participants last year, was just reserved for 200 elite runners on Sundays. Spectators also were told not to attend. Also, the cases are spiking in Italy, Germany, and Iran. In Italy alone, reported cases were up 50% on Sunday. Some European leaders are advising people not to greet others with a traditional kiss on both cheeks. Just dab it up.
All right, TJ, as those cases grow overseas, there are new travel restrictions this morning. Gio Benitez is at Newark Airport in New Jersey with the very latest on all of that. Good morning, Gio.
Amy, good morning. There are some major travel headlines now. Let's go ahead and start with those expanded travel warnings. The White House is now urging Americans not to travel to northern Italy or South Korea. And any foreign national who visited Iran in the past 14 days will not be allowed into the U.S. Delta and American are suspending flights between JFK and Milan. American is also suspending flights between Miami and Milan. JetBlue and American are waiving all change and cancellation fees for new bookings. Meanwhile, Delta, United, and American are also issuing travel waivers for some flights to northern Italy. And the Trump administration has directed the State Department to work with Italy and South Korea to screen any passengers traveling to the U.S. before they board the plane. They're going to be looking for symptoms, Amy.
Yeah, and Gio, a lot of people, as you know, have air travel booked over these next few weeks, and so many are wondering now what their airline's policy is, what it will be. What should people do?
So I just did this myself, Amy. All you got to do is go to the airline's website right there on the homepage. You're going to see something that says alerts or advisories. Click on that. You're going to get all the details right there. And if you still have questions, go ahead and call the airline directly.
Yeah, that may be a very important phone call, Gio. Thank you very much. TJ?
All right, Amy, let's bring in Dr. Jennifer Ashton here. We've had a lot of details. We've got travel and what you should do. And what's our big picture of where we are in coronavirus right now?
Well, TJ, I think it's important as we're looking at this number count and everyone is so focused on those numbers to really ask the better question, which is out of how many people? If you don't know that denominator, those numbers really don't have a certain level of significance. Every case is important. Every sick person is important. Every death is obviously tragic. But until you know how many people have been exposed and infected, we really are missing a key part of this. We do know, again, the virus tends to be mild in most cases, but when you hear the saying tip of the iceberg, what that means is because so many people may have no symptoms or mild symptoms, that denominator might be much, much bigger than we know.
And so often people want to compare it to the flu numbers. Should we be doing that?
I mean, yes and no. I think, listen, this is not a competition, okay? The flu can be mild or the flu can be serious or deadly, and this is the same. When you talk about a head-to-head comparison, if you will, we have a vaccine that can reduce our risk of getting sick, and we have some treatments for the flu. We don't have those things yet for this novel coronavirus. And to put the numbers into perspective, Friday, the CDC came out with its weekly flu estimates. We have covered this from the beginning of flu season, but again, estimated 32 million people affected and 18,000 estimated flu-related deaths.
All right, perspective as always. Dr. Jen, we appreciate you. You're going to be back next hour answering questions from the audience. George.
Okay, TJ, let's go to the White House now. Our chief White House correspondent John Carl is there. And John, ever since the president got back from India last week, he's been consumed by this crisis.
He sure has, George, especially consumed about the economic impact, specifically the stock market. And he has been venting, George, about criticism he has received from Democrats. Today, the president will meet with the CEOs of 8 pharmaceutical companies to discuss the acceleration of the development of a vaccine for the coronavirus. The president has consistently sought to downplay the risk here, but he does have his coronavirus task force led by the vice president. They have said consistently that this virus will spread in the United States and that they are preparing for the worst. They are also trying to appeal for calm.
And John, you mentioned the president has been attacking Democrats, accusing them of perpetrating a hoax with this coronavirus. Also, the media for our reporting on the coronavirus. This has really become political fodder at the White House.
It sure has. The president had a speech at the conservative CPAC over the weekend, blasting the critics here. Mike Bloomberg actually ran an ad yesterday, spent about $1 million doing it, a 3-minute ad designed to look a little bit like an Oval Office address, directly attacking the president's response on this and saying what he would do. The president is lashing out on all of this, again, calling the Democratic response a hoax.
John Carl, thanks very much. Amy?
All right, George, and in the race for the White House, a major development overnight. Top contender Pete Buttigieg dropping out after Tom Steyer also calls it quits, all in the wake of Joe Biden's landslide victory in South Carolina on Saturday, winning by nearly 30 points. The narrowing field could help the former vice president as we head into Super Tuesday. 15 contests, more than a third of the Democratic convention delegates are at stake, and Eva Pilgrim has the latest.
Overnight, Pete Buttigieg dropping out of the race for president.
I will no longer seek to be the 2020 Democratic nominee for president, but I will do everything in my power to ensure that we have a new Democratic president come January.
Buttigieg's decision coming after his 4th place finish in South Carolina over the weekend.
Our goal has always been to help unify Americans to defeat Donald Trump and to win the era for our values. The best way to keep faith with those goals and ideals is to step aside and help bring our party and our country together.
Do you think him dropping out of the race makes your path forward on Super Tuesday a little bit easier?
Well, he was a real competitor. He is a real competitor, and I think it probably does. If I were president, I'd very much like to see him part of whatever I do.
Joe Biden, fresh off a commanding win in the Palmetto State, shaking up the race.
The press and the pundits declared my candidacy dead. Now, thanks to the heart of the Democratic Party in South Carolina, I'm very much alive.
The former vice president saying he is taking nothing for granted, now turning his attention to Super Tuesday, less than 24 hours away. Biden knows he is facing an uphill climb against delegate leader Bernie Sanders, who has spent more money and more time in the Super Tuesday delegate-rich states like California.
Which candidate can reach out and bring new people into the political process who can create the excitement and the energy for young people to come in? I think that's our campaign.
Sanders arguing that old-fashioned politics won't beat Donald Trump in November.
You talking about Joe Biden?
I could be. Yes, I am.
And the wild card heading into tomorrow, billionaire Michael Bloomberg will be on the ballot for the first time. There is a lot on the line with so many delegates up for grabs. The result will tell us the path forward for these remaining candidates. George.
Yes, they will, Eva. Thanks very much. Let's bring in our chief political analyst, Matthew Dowd, for more on this right now. So the biggest night of the primaries, tomorrow night, Super Tuesday. And what we're trying to assess is the impact of Joe Biden's landslide win in South Carolina. We've already seen Pete Buttigieg and Tom Steyer drop out.
Yeah, I think if you watch the first 10 minutes of the show this morning, I think the watchword is volatility and unpredictability in our economy, what's happening in the global crisis, the unpredictability of the White House. And we're in an unpredictable time in our politics right now. I think much of this benefits Joe Biden because he had a huge victory. We don't know how much is captured because we're not going to see any polling before tomorrow night. All the polls before now, I think, are kind of useless because they don't capture that. And I think Pete Buttigieg's base of support is much more aligned with Joe Biden's base of support, older voters who oppose Medicare for all. But we have no idea what's going to happen.
And it comes up against Bernie Sanders, who raised a ton of money in February, $46.5 million. Is the biggest organization across the country and is leading in polls in most of the Super Tuesday states.
Yeah, he has the advantage in this. He has more delegates now. He has a greater degree of money, and he has more leads in more states. But again, I think once we've moved this race much more to a two-person, two-and-a-half-person race, we don't fully know what Michael Bloomberg's effect is going to be. Ever since those sort of bad debate performances, his support has dropped. I don't think that's been completely captured in the states.
One thing we can say for certain, the chances of the Democrats not having a nominee before the convention are going up.
It's rising. Unless after Super Tuesday, a series of candidates, a bunch of candidates drop out and we're only left with two. But if that stays the same, yes, it's likely that we're going to go into a convention without a nominee.
Matthew Dowd, thanks very much. We're going to have special coverage of Super Tuesday all night long. I'll be anchoring, joined by our political team starting at 8 Eastern. TJ?
All right, now look at maybe the future of the NBA. Big night on the basketball court, kind of point-for-point battle between New Orleans and the Lakers, in particular those two stars, Zion Williamson and LeBron James. Zion, of course, was just 2 years old, actually, when LeBron entered the NBA all those years ago, but they went back and forth. Check this out. Number of highlights you're going to be seeing from that guy over the years. But in the end, Zion had 35. LeBron had 34. But LeBron got the win. You saw that 34-footer. But, hey, a look at the future there.
All right. Thanks for the highlights right there. We are following a lot of other stories this morning. We're going to tell you what the stepfather of those missing Idaho children is now saying about their safety.
And we have the Extraordinary Earth GMA live at the mouth of a volcano with a National Geographic scientist who listens to lava, the secrets he's learning. But first, let's go to Ginger in Chicago with those storms and that deadly pileup.
Yeah, Amy, Interstate 80 closed in both directions in southern Wyoming overnight because of this, a 50-car pileup that killed at least 2 people. We're watching right there as they captured one of the rescues happening. And now the whole attention needs to turn to the heavy rain that's coming along the Gulf Coast and the severe storms possible, really from Texas to the Florida Panhandle as we head into the midweek. Let's get to the select cities now, brought to you by Sprint.
Do you get confused by wireless network claims? I don't blame you. The most reliable, the most awarded, the best, the fastest, the best and the fastest. Enough. Sprint is doing things differently. They're offering a 100% total satisfaction guarantee. So you can try out the network and see the savings for yourself. And now get a Samsung Galaxy phone for just $0 per month when you switch to Sprint. Now that's a deal.
A mild start to the work week with temperatures today, tomorrow, and Wednesday topping out in the 60s. But you're chilly out the door this morning, so have that warm jacket ready to go. Umbrella after about 6 p.m. as we track some scattered showers moving through. 64 at 4 p.m. today. Take a look at tomorrow. We'll get up to 62 and we'll start out with even higher temperatures. Your Super Tuesday looking like a few showers for early morning and then rain, maybe even isolated thunder after 3 p.m. Cooling down by the end of the work week. Friday's high 50.
A lot going on this Monday morning. We'll be right back.
This is
gonna be America's favorite breakfast. They just don't know it yet.
These are a few of my favorite
Wendy's is changing the game from this to a breakfast that eats other breakfasts for breakfast. Who says you can't have a Baconator for breakfast? Don't just grab a coffee. Grab a Frosty Chino instead. And forget that